Welcome to Dental Success Beyond Chairside, the podcast that is dedicated to revolutionising the way dental professionals succeed beyond the dental chair. Join us for a unique blend of insightful interviews with industry experts and valuable tidbits of information to help you thrive in your dental specialist practice. In each 20-minute episode, we'll delve into a variety of topics, including HR, marketing, innovative techniques and systems, and AI, to help you transform your practice and unlock its full potential. Whether you're a dentist, specialist, or oral health therapist looking to enhance your practice, this podcast is your go-to resource for professional, personal, and profitable success. Get ready to go beyond the dental chair and discover what lies ahead in your practice journey with dental success beyond chairside. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Dental Success Beyond Chairside. Are you struggling to keep up on things like recalls and dental monitoring because you've had shortages in your team? I'm excited to introduce our guest, Casey Bull, CEO of MyOrthoVA, who supply expertly trained VAs to dental and orthodontic practices across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode, Casey.
Thanks so much, Michelle, for having me. I'm so excited for our conversation today.
Absolutely, so am I. Casey started her career in ortho over a decade ago, and she is at the forefront of practice innovation in the orthodontic industry. Casey, can you share your story with us and explain what MyOrthoVA can offer to dental practices across the globe?
Yeah, absolutely. I started working in an orthodontic practice when I was in a transition of my life going to grad school, and admittedly thought working in an office was going to be my in-between job. And obviously I fell in love with the specialty, with the industry, and the people in it. So naturally after grad school, continued in the orthodontic industry and became a consultant at the Invisible Orthodontics and stayed there for about 5 years until the idea of MyOrthoVA came. Dr. Alex Waldman, who's an orthodontist, and myself launched this as a subsidiary of a larger VA virtual assistant company in the healthcare space called Medva. And even when I was working at the orthodontic office, we had hired a virtual assistant before, but it's so difficult to, one, find the right fit for your team. And then two, even if you have someone who's available to work, how do you train them? What do you need to train them in? And what do you delegate? How do you delegate? How do you monitor when someone not only works remotely, but in another country, and the potential communication differences and those kinds of things? We knew that while Medva exists and is successful, how can we really bespoke the offering to make sense for the orthodontic space? So that's what we do. We're really standing on the sole shoulders of a giant in Medva, but able to really specialize and hone in on the specific pain points of orthodontists. And so that's what we do.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So what pain points are you specifically looking at with regard to orthodontists, Casey?
Yes, great question. So things like training and onboarding. Sorry, Dr. Waldman, but my first day working at Waldman Orthodontics was here's a computer, here's a chair, and good luck. I'll see you at the end of the day after I've done patients.
That is like so many practices, Casey. That is why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Yes, exactly. So it's getting the candidate. Well, first, what skill sets do we really need in an orthodontic office, right? We don't just need someone to answer the phone. They need to answer the phone in a certain way. We don't just need someone to execute XYZ marketing tasks. The marketing strategy is different than like a lot of other business marketing strategies. Training them in all of the foundational things that most ortho offices just skip over, like what is orthodontics? Who are the patient groups that we might treat? How might we treat them? Why is sales and marketing really important in an orthodontic specialty office? Like these kinds of things, just so they really understand the context and they don't become tick box checkers. They don't just execute a task. They're doing it in a way that makes sense because they're trained in it. Candidate selection and training was really important. Obviously, the onboarding part, making sure we're supporting the practice with effective onboarding and implementation of having a virtual assistant. And then naturally, security, right? While the security element of dental and orthodontic may seem less private than medical specialties, orthodontists really do what I find really prioritize security more than some of these other specialties that I was able to experience while working with the Medva team, making sure that the technology stack that we have, that the protocols we have in place really align with the expectations of security compliance that the orthodontists needed.
Were they working out of a building where they can't like download things onto USB drives and things like that? How does that work, Casey, with your VAs?
We have essentially two different options for security. We have one option that's the work from home model, especially for offices that are more sensitive on the pricing. It's much more affordable to get somebody who works from home. Fortunately, with all the technology growth out there, especially with AI, we have an incredible technology stack that really allows for incredible security in a work from home environment. What that means is that we installed this tool onto their private devices, yes, while they're working at home, but it emulates when you're at university or you're at a library, you log onto the computer and you're on the computer, but you don't have the full menu on your screen. You don't have access to everything. So we can restrict things like downloading files onto the device. We can even restrict the copy paste. You can't push Control C. That doesn't work. We can really restrict the digital environment. As an add-on, people can add on webcam monitoring, which is AI. I don't want everyone to think that we're like literally watching people work 8 hours a day. But it's AI and it's really advanced. It's incredible. If somebody works from a coffee shop, now granted, we coach them that that's not allowed. That's not a compliant environment. Someone can look over your shoulder. But if they do, it would notice another face coming into the camera and the screen would take a picture of the violation and the screen will go black. They will be logged out and they will get a message sent to their manager on our side to do a coaching. Hey, you're not in a non-compliant environment. Or if they pull up their cell phone into the camera, photo of the violation taken and that's sent to their manager. All those things. So we can actually monitor what they're doing in their personal environment as well as the digital environment. But we do absolutely have a secured facility in Manila. And it's actually outside of Manila in Quezon City, for those of you who know geographic areas in Philippines, where we can get a VA who will go into the office, work from that secure facility. That device doesn't leave the office, no cell phones on the floor. It's paperless. They get dual screens. We set them up really nice with all the devices, and it is as secure as you need. You can't get more secure than that.
Actually, I'll just go back to the onboarding. You really match values as well when you're matching your VAs, because that's a foundation for success. So I just want to go back to that first part where you talked about the onboarding of your own team with MyOrthoVA, and then obviously matching with a practice and what they need. So you do look at matching the values of what you're looking for with the skills as well as the personal values of that person, the VA.
Yeah, that is absolutely critical. I mean, whether you're getting a VA or someone on your team, truly, you really have to dial in what you're looking for. Of course, we want everyone to be a multitasker and wear multiple hats. That's a given. But what is the need versus the nice to have, right? So what we found, especially in the early days, let's say this time last year, we were really letting the practice dictate all of this exhaustive list of requirements. We were trying to find this jack of all trades. What we find is that the jack of all trades is mediocre at all trades versus I need somebody who's phenomenal at billing and they're going to be detail oriented in everything. It would be great if they had warm communication skills, because now we know we're going to find an incredible biller. When you interview them, you're looking for that personality versus I need a new patient coordinator. We need someone who really is personality and connection over everything. Obviously, we'll delegate other things. We're going to find you that person who, when they take that 4:00 new patient call, they have just as much energy as at 8 a.m. You have to really dial in the one major requirement so we can make you the right match.
Excellent. You spoke about when a violation happens, it goes to the supervisor. With this VA system, even though they're engaged with your team, you have an intermediary person between the practice and MyOrthoVA who is actually the supervisor of that person. So is it like you're contracting MyOrthoVA and then you can just say to their supervisor, you need to deal with this because this isn't happening, or they performance manage them?
It's a really great question. We haven't actually got to that. Like how does it work? You have a VA, then now what? We don't want to slow down the process. But we do want the practice to be empowered to delegate and to provide corrections ad hoc with their VA, build that relationship, have them be an extension of your team, have them be part of the team. But you do have your VA manager on our side. That person is almost like, hopefully, good cop, bad cop. They're going to be a little bit of that bad cop in situations, but they're going to be looking at the really detailed things. Like, it seems like you consistently clock 4 minutes late. Let's get that on time, right? They're going to be looking at the clock in, the clock out, the responsiveness. We do coaching on a regular basis. Sometimes virtual assistants, just like anything else, they really want to perform well, and they may not communicate their concerns to we call them their client, the practice, but they'll communicate their concerns to their manager on our side. We're trying to be your partner and solicit those things and say, oh, well, you know what? They're actually really concerned because they're a little bit confused about X, Y, or Z. Sometimes it is like, hey, we've been performance coaching this person on this minor thing. I think this person is great, but this or that. Sometimes it's even nice to have someone coach them in their native language. Then we have their VA manager to supplement that coaching, reiterating it, and hopefully having it.
Now I want to get on. So we've got the VA, they've matched it. What sort of services and what sort of experience and qualifications, I suppose, do your VAs have?
You name it. I mean, most of them come from healthcare, but we have some offices who need actually a bookkeeper just for general business operations. I would say that the biggest one right now is like a financial coordinator type role to do all of the billing elements, or new patient coordinator. We have a good amount of dentists who end up in our pool, our talent pool, and they obviously can be trained to do a lot of things. They're in our talent pool and they go through our foundational training, but we have one office actually having the dentist from the Philippines doing virtual lunch and learns with the dentists in the area on behalf of the practice. Of course, we have some doing a prescription submission as well as the initial case setup to help streamline ClinCheck or light force case setup for the practice.
That's probably a really good thing to have within the practice, because that's quite easy to train how you want it set up, and that saves the doctor quite a bit of time, which is nice. How about things, you talked about follow-ups with treatment planning, treatment coordination?
Yeah, so this happened a lot over summer. I don't know what happened over, I guess, American summer. You're in summer right now, but over I would say July, August, where for some reason we had a lot of offices that were like, I love my TC. She gets a lot of same-day starts, but if it's not a same-day start, it doesn't happen because she doesn't do any follow-up. I had to put my little consultant hat on because to have a virtual assistant that doesn't know that patient all of a sudden to do sales follow-up doesn't make sense. What we implemented, it was like bookends. We have the virtual assistant performing a welcome call a couple days before the appointment, confirming all the things that normally the TC would make that welcome call, but we have the virtual assistant make the welcome call. So, hi, I'm Casey. Thank you so much, for scheduling the appointment. Are you excited? We got your dental records. We have this, we have that. And do you have any questions? I know you're going to meet with Michelle and Dr. So-and-so, and I'm going to check in after. Mm-hmm. And then they check in after. Hi, I'm Casey. How was your appointment with Michelle? Mm-hmm. So it makes sense for them to continue the follow-up. So we do have a handful of people doing it as we're calling it a TC assistant.
That's nice. That's really good. How about recalls? That's a very big thing that I see in practices that get left, and it's just like the bottom of the list, and the team at the cold face, basically, they don't like doing it.
Exactly. I would say, so that is probably the vast majority of VAs currently sit as a new patient coordinator or financial coordinator and wear multiple hats and do all like the kind of reporting. So they'll do the recall reporting and call, outbound calls. They'll do the care calls. They'll do the existing patients without a future appointment. They'll do new patients added that didn't complete a consultation. All those no-shows or cancellation. All of those reports that just end up, like, they just sit there. Now you have someone.
It's a ton of gold sometimes sitting there.
Gosh, yes, absolutely.
So now we're talking about that the VAs need access to your practice management system, obviously. How does this work with all the different practice management systems that are available globally?
Yes, I know exactly. Fortunately, it's pretty straightforward. Regardless of the practice management software, we have not yet found one that we had an issue with. We have some that we need to make sure that the VA has a Mac computer because it only operates on that operating system versus a PC. But either the practice management software is going to fit into one of two buckets. Either you have a cloud-based software. It's very easy. You create a user, you give them the URL and the login, and they're in.
Yeah. Sometimes
they may need a VPN because it needs to look like they're local, which our IT team will fully help set the VA up. The other option is it's a server-based practice management software, and so the device accessing the practice management software needs to be on the server. In those cases, the practice does need to either purchase or identify a computer in the practice office that is within the private network on the server. And then we have the VA remote in.
So via TeamViewer or something like that?
Yes, exactly. Which, again, for people who are not like necessarily tech savvy, our IT team helps with. As long as we identify what type of practice management software you have and you have a device set up, we will coach the practice on setting up access, training the VA how to access it every day. They would be able to access it through a tool like AnyDesk or Log Me In, or there's a lot of kind of virtual remote in tools.
Excellent. Now, talking about that, getting the practice on board, you talked about your staff onboarding and how you actually get and train them and then match them to the values of the practice. But once a practice has got a match, how does the support and training happen for the integration of that person?
Okay, so this is key. There is a process that admittedly has changed since we first started MyOrthoVA. Those of you who started with us in the early days, I thank you for hanging in there. Now we have it down to a science. VAs end up being, individual contributors by their 5th business day, maybe the 6th. We're able to get them onboarded and being productive very quickly. Really proud of it. I will say that, one, it's key to very quickly identify if there are concerns from the office that this is not the right person. You tell us right away. With MyOrthoVA, there's no contracts, there's no commitment to us or the VA. So you don't have the right fit. Let's get you the right fit. So first and foremost. But the process really is focus on the first day on the technical access and technical training. How do I use the phone system? How do I log into the VoIP? Is that working? How do I check voicemails? Sometimes we breeze over that and then it makes them actually executing it difficult because they're like, oh, how do I answer the text? Kind of thing. So need to make sure we do thorough phone training and thorough practice management software training the first day, which does at least initially seems a little counterintuitive because they don't even know what their job is yet.
No,
but it's very important to go through that first so they see it and then it's familiar. Then for 1 to 2 days, so the second or third business day, depending on how many tasks they're going to be responsible for, they are not doing anything themselves. They are just shadowing. Just like you would in an office, hey, sit next to Jenny and watch her do her thing. What's amazing is that being able to shadow someone virtually is actually more effective than shadowing in person because you can record it.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their camera on. They're going to be sharing their screen. The VA is learning. They're making notes. They're recording it. And then after their training, they're going to be creating their standard operating procedure. So they're going to create it themselves.
Yeah.
The process of them creating that SOP locks it into their brain. It's wonderful. And so then if it's only like a couple tasks, then by the 3rd day, they can do it. But if they're doing a lot of things, and maybe it's a couple days of that shadowing, by the 4th business day, you have someone on your team shadowing them. They're still not on their own. You need to watch them, look for different errors. How can they be more efficient? And that takes discipline because it's uncomfortable. Because you're like, oh, the phone's ringing. I need to go do that. No, don't do that. Shadow your VA because if you are dedicated for that 1 week, they're going to be able to fly. They're going to soar. They're going to add value to your team far beyond the 1 day that you had to just sit there and watch.
Okay.
And then, by the 5th day, they're rocking and rolling.
Wow. Is there anything that we've missed that you'd like to discuss specifically, Casey?
I mean, I would say that my strongest recommendation, whether it's with us or another VA company, there's no commitment. There's no contract signing in. Even if you do contract sign, it's a 2-week notice cancellation with us. So it's very easy to get out of it. But there's no commitment to interview. A lot of misconceptions or closed-mindedness about who is going to do this job. Interview them. I stand by every single one of the individuals in our talent pool. I would hire onto my team right now if I had the space. In fact, our account manager, I was on an interview and she wasn't selected and I was like, that practice, I don't know what they were thinking. This person is amazing. So I hired her. Everyone in our talent pool is absolutely amazing. I would put my name on. Interview, consider, and then be disciplined in that first week, absolutely, with the onboarding, and make sure you have someone who's available to train, and then make sure you're not being overly kind in terms of maybe they'll get better, because in my experience, they should really impress that first week, and if they don't, they're probably not the right fit.
Fantastic. I think that's a wonderful summary, Casey. I think you've enlightened everybody about VAs and especially what MyOrthoVA can offer. And I thank you for joining us. For more information together with pricing, if you want to find out that, please contact Casey. Their website, social media profiles will be on our show notes. So I really appreciate you joining us today, Casey. Casey's in LA. The fires are all happening at the moment. So her passion is just amazing. And we really wish you and your family lots of love and care. And I hope everything's okay. Okay.
Thank you very
Casey.
much.
See ya.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Series 2 of Dental Success Beyond Chairside. We've covered essential HR strategies to help build stronger, more efficient dental practices, from legal compliance to fostering a positive workplace culture. As we conclude this series, we're excited to announce our next focus, Series 3, Systems for Success, Simplifying Dental Practice Efficiency. In this upcoming series, we'll explore how organised systems can improve workflows, save time, and allow your team to focus on providing exceptional patient care. With practical advice and insights from industry experts, we'll help create a more effective and efficient practice. Join us every second Saturday for actionable tips and strategies. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast or YouTube channel to stay updated. Thank you for your continued support, and we look forward to seeing you in Series 3, Systems for Success.